Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So who among you is the wise and faithful servant who is doing what they're supposed to do? Like the parable of the 10 virgins. Have you kept your lamps burning? The parable of the bags of gold and the 10 minas. Did you scramble to do God's work to the best of your ability with everything you have? Like the parable of the hidden treasure, the lost pearl. Now let's go to Matthew 13, right? Giving everything you have to do God's work, right? Hidden treasure, lost pearl. Selling everything you have, so to speak, to do God's work. Because that's where the true treasure is. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. Nothing you desire, nothing you have right now can compare to it. I am the wisest of the kings, and I'll prove it. And I have proven it. And I am in the process of proving it. Matthew 13, the parable of the sower. That same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. And he told them things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell in rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched. They were withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among rocky thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop of 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Okay. So, when you listen to this, you might be turned off by you say, well, that's a lot of information. Okay, that's part of the mistake that the Bible makes, right? This is just one parable in one section of the whole Bible. And there's a lot you can get from it. But if you're not somebody who's trying with all your heart to serve God, which was the greatest commandment, right? Love God with all your being, and then do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, if you are righteous, so treat them fairly, right? Righteousness and justice is the measuring line and plume line, Isaiah 28:17. So you got to do the right thing. That's the essence of Scripture. Serve God in the divine order. Again, in the divine order, and do the right thing. Should you follow Einstein or the top martial artist ever who's conveying focused moral intensity from God? Obviously, the top martial artist ever. If you can't make that distinction, then the Bible is useless to you. If you're not obeying God through me because I'm the top martial artist ever possible, conveying focused moral intensity, right? The Bible is just a book with words that's, giving you some kind of psychological effect, and you get a kick out of it or something. I've been making this argument for years and years. Eventually, if I'm alive long enough, it'll be 10 years, right? So it's been like, I've been making this argument as an argument that I'm Christ since maybe 2018. But I've been arguing I should be in charge since at least 2011 or 2012. So that's like 12 years. Okay. And no one has ever had a viable counter-argument. Even when my arguments were very, my very early arguments were very basic. Okay, very just first glance kind of arguments. First glance, I should be the leader kind of thing. And over time, I made it clear. So when we look at the explanations for the parable of the sower and the parable of the weeds, we're going to see clearly that the essence of it is obeying God in the divine order, and it has reproductive implications, and no one should reproduce no matter what, right? And it has deeper implications, right? Okay, so let's just skip ahead real quickly to the parable of the weeds explained. We'll get back to this so you can connect these two effectively. So again, it's Matthew 13, verse 41. Okay, we'll go to verse 40. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin, and all who do, all who sin, right? All who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear. So we see in life, people say what goes around comes around. There's gravity. There's certain natural effects that we see occur without anybody saying that they should occur. So God, the Spirit of God is in my soul already, and nature works a certain way already in the supernature, the supernatural world, if you will, the spirit world, spear and spirit, right? That extra essence of nature that the martial artist taps into when he's in the divine order and strikes with focus, moral intensity. It's going to work immediately. It was there before I was born. It was there before the world existed. These principles were there. The spirit realm was there. Okay. So we see that the wicked are being thrown into the furnace, right? They have yoked themselves to things that cause sin, and they do evil. Okay. And it says they will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear. And again, the sun is the symbol of the bridegroom in Psalm 19, and also in Malachi, the sun in righteousness. And in Revelations, Jesus said, "I'm the root and offspring of David, and the bright morning star," which in its truest form and the most fair interpretation is the sun, and not some star that comes before the sun in the morning. Okay, but actually the sun itself. Okay. That is the key. It's the symbol of the bridegroom. Psalm 19 makes it clear. So all interpretations of Revelation 22 or so has to be within the boundaries of Psalm 19, because it's established before that the sun is the symbol of the bridegroom, and he's like a champion rejoicing to run his course. Okay, it's what it says in Psalm 19. So the champion, the top martial arts, right? Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name, the champion of martial arts. If you still don't believe that because of the Exodus 15:3, you'll see in Psalm 18, the chapter before Psalm 19, which tells us the sun is the symbol of the bridegroom, says that God trains the king's hands for battle. And we see in Proverbs, you see someone who's skilled in his work, he will serve before kings and not officials of low rank. If he's the top martial arts ever, he serves before God with nobody in between God and him. Pretty straightforward. So Christ coming back with all the angels, with the sword and everything, is the idea of the top martial artist coming back to finish God's work in this world once and for all. And then people are just, scum, on the top layer of hell, if you will, rotting until they're placed into hell. So they're waiting in line to go to hell on the planet. Okay. So let's finish the parable of the sowers now. So you can imagine the parable of the wheat. The weeds has to do with separating, the weeds from what the person intended to grow, to harvest, to cultivate. Okay, and again, sowing your seed, right? You reap what you sow, and the word reap is rape, scramble. There's all kinds of reproductive connections to this story, but it also has to do with how you live your life. And since I'm almost out of time, let's just get to verse 19. Let me cover this part real quick. Okay, so whoever has ears, let them hear. The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. But whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken away." And of course, the parable of the 10 minas and the parable of the bags of gold goes over this. So we see that he says, what he's saying there is, in the end, not everyone's going to truly understand, just like they don't understand the parables, because whoever has will be given more. Every eye will see, but not every eye will perceive. Okay? And that's what's going on now. So we go down to verse 19. I mean, this whole thing is important. He quotes Isaiah about how they don't truly see or hear, but I only have a couple minutes left. Let me just get through this. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in their heart, right? They don't understand. They're not wise enough to understand, so boom, it's snatched away. This is the seed that's sown along the path. Whether it's sown along the path or along, the supermarket, it doesn't matter. It's the problem they have is they don't understand the word. The seed falling on the rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. Why? Because they don't have a martial art discipline, right? So if the person isn't wise, they fail. If they don't have a martial art discipline, they fail. And who's the top martial arts? It's me. So I'm the king of courage. I'm the king of righteousness, the king of wisdom, king of conveying the spirit of God, the one God set apart to be the leader. Just like it says in John 10, it said, believe the works. The works show who the man is, right? As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart, and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. Okay, so the person, again, is too scared and too tempted. They don't have that martial art discipline. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what is sown. And this has a lot of connections here. Okay, when we look at the number, the 60, right, is connected. We have the number 3 in the 30. Okay, but that's a story for another day. To make a long story short, this points right to me. But we're out of time here. Okay.